Right, and we are live. Hey everybody, thank you for joining us. I'm Stuart from NetReady, and this is MLM for CEOs, the channel that is aimed at providing key insights to company owners operating within this lucrative multi-level marketing space. In today's episode, we're going to be speaking about warehouse and fulfillment, and here to help me unpack that information is a man with over 35 years experience within the multi-level marketing industry, a man that has recently had a lot of experience establishing warehouse and fulfillment, and he's the perfect person that is going to unpack this with me. I introduce to you Mr. Richard Sletcher.
Yeah, thank you.
We've been through quite a ride over the past 12 to 18 months with this topic.
Yeah.
It's extensive.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what you're doing, you can overwhelm yourself very quickly.
Look, it's actually quite a serious part of the business. And I say to people, when you start multi-level marketing business, a lot of companies do 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and off they go on this exponential curve, and they think to themselves, wow, I'm going to make a fortune.
Yeah.
But what they forget is that they've got two businesses here. On the one side, they've got the network marketing side, which is managing an army of volunteers,
Yes.
which has its own set of challenges.
Yeah.
On the other side, they've got a traditional logistics company, a fulfillment business, sales and marketing business, which they have to manage. Now we're assuming that we're not dealing with an online digital product. Okay, let's say you've got a physical product. Part of the problem that you have is you've got to actually get that product from the manufacturer into your warehouse, from the warehouse to the customer. There's that entire logistics process that needs to be dealt with, and there's a number of ways of doing this. The one way, and I did this with Acorn Kids, is you can run your own warehouse. And after running my own warehouse for about a year and a half, I outsourced the whole shebang to a fulfillment company, one of these pick, pack, and ship logistics companies who did e-commerce fulfillment. Now, there was a balancing act there. On the one side, getting the logistics company to do it was more expensive, but on the other side, it took all the pain away.
Right.
And because I wasn't hugely experienced in the logistics space, it was such a relief to let go of that and get somebody else to handle it for me. But let's assume, for the argument's sake, that you are going to run your own warehouse. And I think that's what this conversation is about, right?
It is. And I know a lot of our clients, in terms of how they get started, this is sitting in an open garage space that they currently have. Obviously, it's small scale to begin with. But what happens when you start hitting that exponential growth and the business just ignites, and it gets to the point where you can't manage the processes that you should have put in place, or you don't have the space to manufacture and house all those products? I mean, how are our clients or how are companies dealing with that?
Well, they're not.
Right.
So the business scales, and I mean, we've got one client who scaled at a ridiculous rapid rate, and I go to their offices and it's just chaos.
Yeah.
They literally have people sitting on the floors and packing stuff out of sort of big boxes into smaller boxes to ship to their clients. They have lost control completely. Their shrinkage rate is through the ceiling. People are stealing them blind. The wrong stock is getting sent out. As I said, on our last session, we talked about support. They've got an army of support people trying to deal with the mess that they've created, and scaling their business is just ridiculously difficult because they don't have the understanding, they don't have the insights, they don't have the logistic wherewithal to do it. So kind of for us, this conversation here today is really about what you need to do to set up a proper logistics operation and then scale it.
Yeah, right. So, well, let's dive into that then. So, what do you need to do? I mean, what sort of equipment do you need to have? Is there management software that needs to be utilized to manage the whole process? What are the standard operating procedures in terms of product coming in to the final time that it gets shipped out? What sort of racking or let's unpack that a little bit more, because it's that's a whole host of elements that we want to discuss.
So we've set up a warehouse for our Ignition Plus program.
Yeah.
And what we're doing is we're fulfilling on behalf of our clients. And we did that because of the chaos that they are creating in their businesses. We needed to provide them with a mechanism to scale fast. And when we set this up, I mean, I had to do a whole lot of research. I ran my last warehouse back in sort of the early 2000s, and I haven't done it for years, and a lot has changed.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things that came into play here. number one, there's the physical space. You have to have enough space to be able to grow. And so there's a calculation that you need to do. So, for example, the average person can pick 80 items an hour. That's on average globally. So you can, if you're using physical pickers, you can talk about picking 80 items an hour. Now, the average order has got about 5 items in it. So where's your calculator, Stu? It's 80 divided by 5.
80 divided by 5.
Yeah. Come on, Stu. Where's your math brain? Come on, hit me.
It is 16.
So you can pack 16 orders an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, so over 7 hours times 7 hours.
Yeah, that is 112.
So you're packing 112 orders per pick pack pair per day.
Yeah.
So now, if you want to pack, so that's per month, just times that by 22 working days, 112 times 22. So we're getting all these numbers, we're packing them out.
Or just under 2,500.
So one pick pack pair can pack 2,500 orders
a month.
Okay. So now you've got to project how many orders are you potentially going to pack.
Yeah.
Let's say you're going to pack 20,000 orders a month.
Yeah.
Because that's what you can scale to. And you say, okay, how much space do I need to do that? How much racking space do I need to do that? How often do I need to replenish? In order to do that, how many people do I need on the floor? So now if you want to do 20,000, you take that, you need 8 people.
8 pairs.
8 pairs. So 16 people.
Yeah.
So the whole concept is that now 16 people will pack 20,000 orders, and we've worked out that you need approximately 600 to 800 square meters of space. I don't know how much that is in feet.
Yes.
But 600 to 800 square meters in space will allow you to pack 20,000 orders a month and have 16 people on the floor.
Yeah.
Now you can start working on your efficiencies.
Right.
So this is where systems come in. Now what we've done there is we've got light racking up. It's not the ultra light racking. It's the proper racking that you can put up that can hold, a couple of tons of product.
Yeah.
And we have systemized the whole operation. Maybe we can get a video of that up at some stage of what we've done.
Sure.
But every location is numbered, and we've got a warehouse management system that we've built that is in our warehouse that is running that warehouse. Now what happens is you can increase the velocity by systemizing the picking process. So now what we found is that because of our systems and because of using scanners to scan the products into the tote, and because of being able to pack 6 to 8 orders at a time, we're able to increase the velocity. So what happens is, in our situation, is a picker will take 6 orders. They get given on their scanner, gets given their batches, and the orders are batched in 6s, and the system will lead them through in the least distance through the warehouse to allow them to pick those 6 orders.
Sure.
What we've discovered is that we can double the velocity of the picking, so that we now only need 1 picker to service 2 packers, because that picker can pick 160 items an hour because we've systemized the process. And so we've increased our velocity by using systems and using digital processes.
Yeah.
So now we know that 600 square meters costs us, let's say, 30,000 Rand a month. We need warehouse manager to start with. We need a warehouse manager who can double as a picker/packer, and we need somebody to pack the stock. So we can start with an extremely small team and a very low overhead. But we know that in 600 square meters, we can scale to 20,000 orders.
Sure.
And that allows us to grow the business. And so what I would say to companies, if you're getting started, base your office out of a warehouse. So that is your office. If you can't afford 30,000 Rand a month, maybe you can only afford 15,000 Rand a month, get a smaller warehouse. Something that can maybe scale up to 5,000 orders. And as soon as you've got traction, you can look at a bigger warehouse and then establish that on the basis of a short-term lease. Because 2 things are going to happen. Either your business succeeds, in which case you can scale up to a bigger venue, or your business fails, in which case you're only in the hock for 12 months of a very small venue. You with me so far? And then it's all about systems. It's trolleys, it's totes, it's numbering. It's to try and make those processes as slick as possible so that you can push product through really fast.
let's give an example of what the Ignition Plus warehouse, the whole operations actually looks like from order coming in to the time that it's dispatched, because I think it paints a good picture of what company owners out there need to be focusing on in which to make their warehouse efficient. We can put together beautiful. It's in the pipeline for the next month, but I want to put together a whole package on exactly what this warehouse looks like and how the fulfillment works. But if you can just run us through step by step on that whole process from order coming into fulfillment, I think it'll be great.
Okay. So let's start on, we receive the stock from the company. So what happens is the stock comes in, we do what we call a put away.
Yep.
So the stock is actually scanned into the bins. So we've got bins throughout the warehouse, and the stock is scanned onto the bins, so it's now available. When it is scanned onto the bins, the NetReady system is updated to say we've got 500 of this unit and 300 of that unit, whatever it is. Okay. Now the client comes on, the networker or the networker's customer comes on and makes an order online. So everything happens online at that point. Once the second the order is marked as paid, that order is pushed through to the warehouse system so that the warehouse is now aware that we have an order to fulfill. The warehouse manager then allocates that batch to a picker who then walks through the warehouse and scans the products into the tote. So when they scan the scanner will say to them, pack 3 of this item.
Yes.
And it leads them through the warehouse so that it's the quickest route from item to item. And they might be packing orders from 10 different customers, or well, in actual fact, 6 different customers in this case.
Yeah.
They'll scan the product in and it'll say, okay, scan an empty tote.
Yeah.
They scan the empty tote, they put the product in. When they get to the next position, it'll say, put 3 of these into tote 4, or put 4 of those into tote 6, or put 9 of those into tote 7, whatever.
Yeah.
It tells them which tote, and they scan them into the totes. And if they scan the wrong totes, it gives them an error. If they scan the wrong product, it tells them an error. So our first point of contact is to ensure that what goes into the tote is accurate.
And the tote is basically small baskets that you can hold the products in that are sitting on a trolley that the pickers are just pushing through the warehouse.
Exactly right. So it's all manual.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're pushing it through and then they scan the products into the various totes. And our first port of call is to make sure that what goes off the shelf into the tote is the right product.
Yeah.
They will then take those 6 items and they will look at which packer is open. And they will give those boxes to that packer. So we've got, say, 8 packers on the floor. They will put 3 to this packer, and they'll see another packer's got nothing to pack, and they'll go and give another 3 to that packer. That packer then takes that tote and puts it onto their desk and scans the tote number, which then brings up the order. Okay, so at the packing station, they've now got the order. They then scan the items into the final box that is going to the client. If it's wrong on the tote, and they scan it, it will give them an error. Say, hey, we've only got 1 of that item. We're supposed to have 2. And they can then go and get the picker to go and get the second item. And it's a second check to make sure that what goes into the box is correct. They then seal the box up, click a button, prints out the Weibull number. They put the Weibull onto the box, and that then goes and stands at the dispatch area. Now, the beauty of this is in our system, from the moment the order is paid to the time when that box is sitting at dispatch waiting to be collected by the couriers, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's a 15-minute turnaround time. When the product is paid for, the customer gets an SMS to say, hey, thanks, we received your payment. When that product is packed ready for collection, customer gets an SMS saying, hey, your product's at dispatch waiting for the courier company. When the courier company collects it, they get an SMS saying this is out on delivery, and when it's ready at the collection point or ready to be delivered to you. If it's delivered to you, it's delivered to you. But if it's at the collection point in your area, then they get an SMS to say, hey, it's sitting at Clicks in your area, please come and fetch it. So that whole process, if it's done right, and we'd go back to the support last week, if it's done right, you don't have any support queries.
Sure.
Because the guy's getting his SMSs, getting his communication, and we've got a process in the warehouse that takes the person right through that entire picking, packing, shipping process, and it's seamless. And the error levels are very, very low because as we're picking and packing, we're checking everything. It's checked into the tote, it's checked into the box, it's a label that's printed out, the label stuck onto that box as it's sealed, and so that box is right. When it leaves the packer's desk, it's 100% correct.
Yeah.
And so we have very, very few mistakes with this process.
In terms of the shipping company, the courier, what is the relationship / integration that your warehouse needs to have with the final piece of the fulfillment?
Yeah, well, from our point of view, and you have to do this, whichever system you use, but with us, when we instruct the courier company that we've got an order to be collected, part of that process is the label gets printed out on the thermal printer.
Yeah.
So we have these sticky thermal printers, sticky back labels. The printer prints it out and it gets stuck onto the box, and the courier company provides us with the label, but also gets informed that that parcel is there to be picked up. When they come to collect it, they scan that parcel into the truck. And as they scan that parcel into the truck, our system gets marked as dispatched. So that whole integration happens. It's all in play. So they collect it, they scan it, it marks our product as dispatched, and it triggers the SMS to say, hey, this product's on its way to you.
Sure.
Now, this all sounds super complicated.
Yeah.
But it actually is all built and it's all working. And, from a NetReady point of view, if you're using our systems, that is all in play in South Africa. And we have systems that are integrated with other processes around the world. So we've got Shipwise, and we've got UPS and FedEx and
Aramex.
USPS and Aramex. And we've got a whole lot of integrations that are already in play around the world. But the one in South Africa is particularly good. Yeah. Because we run all the logistics for the clients as well.
Yeah. I can see why you see that you have spent so much time on this, Richard. To come from a zero-based understanding of how to run a warehouse to being a professional in this space, and I know that's your mantra in life, but it's very complicated for someone with fresh eyes on this. And plugging into an existing system obviously is the best thing to do. But what happens when I don't have the capital to do any of this stuff? I started my garage. Do I generate and bootstrap my capital in order to then plug into an automated system like this?
Look, my recommendation is, if you're scaling like that, I would outsource this. It's going to be more expensive, but it allows you time to grow. So I would go to a logistics company who does e-commerce logistics, and I would actually contract them to handle all the logistics for me. That gives you time to scale or ramp your business. At any time, though, you can say, okay, I've got the capital, the knowledge, and the time, and the people to be able to build my own logistics solution, and then you can pull it back into your own space.
Yeah.
If you're in South Africa, my recommendation would be highly, just use us.
Yeah.
We are inexpensive. We understand the multi-level marketing industry. And, I say to clients, listen, you'd be crazy to set this up yourself. We've already done it. And the beauty is what we're doing is we've got a bunch of clients. So we are leveraging economies of scale.
Exactly.
And so you as a customer are not paying for the entire logistics operation. You're just covering a small portion of it. So it makes it a very inexpensive way for you to scale your business without having any headaches whatsoever.
Yeah. Okay, well, Richard, that brings us to the end of the episode.
Yeah.
You've clearly done and had a lot of experience in the space, and you're now able to provide authoritative
It's
guidance.
a big word for this time of day.
I know. She's so early in the morning. It's like 11:20.
And you've got this little baby who's keeping you awake all night. How many hours did you have sleep last night?
Between 2 hours and 3 hours. So it was a good night.
Good night.
But Richard, I appreciate the time, love, and dedication to this industry and all the aspects that revolve around it. And I appreciate you, feeding this information to me and everyone listening out there. It truly means a lot.
Pleasure. I enjoy it.
Truly means a lot to me that you've dedicated your time to us here at NetReady. Please follow us on all of our social channels. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn. We're also on a YouTube channel called NetReady. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications each time we upload new content. And if you're in the traffic, listen to us on Spotify. Appreciate you joining us. We'll see you next episode. Cheers.